Welcome to the Life After Plus One podcast, where we turn life's lemons into delightful lemonade. Get ready for inspiring stories, uplifting conversations, and all the tips and tricks to rock your single parent journey with style. I'm your host, Leanne, and it's time to embrace the adventure of Life After Plus One. So, let's dive in. Hello, welcome back to Life After Plus One. I'm Leanne, your podcast host and your single parent mentor and coach. Today, I want to talk about a topic to do with the kids, and that is when they fight going to the other parent's house, or not necessarily even fight it, when they just say they don't want to go. They don't want to go to mum's house. They don't want to go to dad's house. What do? Do you just give in? What do you do when the kids are refusing to go to the other parent's house? And this is a very common scenario in the world of co-parenting, because the emotions that the kids are going through, it's a lot for them. And we forget that as adults. We're focused on our emotions and what we've gone through when we're frustrated, upset or angry, or however we're feeling towards the ex. And we forget that the kids are still adjusting to the change, and they're adjusting to two different households, and their whole life has been flipped upside down too. So they're adjusting to it. So quite often when they're refusing to go to another parent's house, it's not because there's a problem or because they hate the other parent. But the big thing here in this situation is to keep that open line of communication happening. Because as adults, if we're in a situation and we're just 1 minute at home doing our thing, we might just be sitting down chilling, having a meal, or in our bedroom just relaxing. And the next minute someone comes to the door, come on, let's go. And you had no idea what was happening. You had no idea you were going. And they're at the door, come on, let's go, bring your bag. We're going for the weekend. And you're like, what the fuck? No, I'm not going anywhere. I had no idea this was happening. I'm not leaving. I'm quite comfortable here. Thank you. Now put the kids in that situation. If they're going to mums or they're going to dads and they didn't know, they hadn't been prepared, they may know that they're going there every second weekend or every weekend, however often it is. But you can't expect them to know this and keep track of this. They're kids. So if they're not told this and they're not given any communication leading up to this, and 1 minute they're sitting in their room playing games or doing whatever they do as kids, and the next minute dad's at the door or mum's at the door, and you're like, kids, come on, you going for the weekend? They're like, no, what the hell? We're good here. We're playing games. We're fine. And they've just kind of been thrown up in the air, and they didn't know what was happening. They're quite comfortable there. And even though it's not an issue of them not liking where they're going, it's just the same as us as adults. When we're doing something and we're comfortable and we're relaxed, and all of a sudden someone's telling us to do something else and we weren't prepared for it, we're like, no, I'm good. I'm not going. I'm here. I'm comfortable. I'm staying. That's what the kids are doing. If the kids haven't been prepped or pre-warned or advised, come on kids, pack your bags. Dad will be here in a couple of hours, or mum will be here. They haven't been warned of that. You've just maybe got their stuff ready for them, or you just haven't even thought to tell them because it's just regular routine and you just expect them to know what's happening. So it's so important to have that open communication with the kids about what's happening. Okay, don't forget, Friday you're going to dad's house. Let them know what's happening, because there's nothing worse than you're in a situation. You're like, what's happening? When am I going to see mum again? When am I going to see dad again? Can I call her? Can I speak to her? What's happening? They need to know. You need to communicate to them the process of what's happening, because it is confusing. Co-parenting is confusing as fuck for us as adults. Well, it's not confusing, but it's challenging. It's hard. It can be a massive head fuck. And put it in the heads of these little kids who've got no idea what's going on. It's going to fuck with their heads even more, especially if they haven't been told what's happening. So it's extremely important when it's time to go to mums or dads to give them a bit of heads up. Okay, kids, Friday, you're going to mums, you're going to dads, get your stuff sorted, pack what you need, have a good chat with them. Any toys you want to take, anything you need to take. If you want to take your phone, make sure you got your charger. Get them prepared. So when it comes down to the crunch and down to handover time, they're like, no, we didn't know what was happening. We're not going. So the more communication they have and that knowledge about what's going on will make that process so much easier, and it gives them time to kind of mentally prepare for it and get them ready for what's about to happen, even though it's nothing bad. And sometimes it's just about going on a long drive. And I know as kids don't like going on long drives. They don't like it. And if you're now in a co-parenting situation where you're not in a close driving range to each other, where you might have to drive a couple of hours, if not more, because you hear that a lot where parents are in different states or other ends of the states and they've got to do a long drive to do a handover, which I pity those people. I'd hate to be in that situation, but unfortunately that's how it works. That's how it's got to be for some people, whether it to be for work or they've had to move back to be with their family. So there are reasons why people do this. But when it comes to co-parenting, what a freaking nightmare that would be, doing those driving hours and all those kilometers every fortnight or every week, however often you do that. And just think how draining it is on you, how draining it is on the kids just to sit in the back seat for hours and hours and hours on their weekend. That's their weekend. That's their time off school where they can just chill out. They can sit on their devices. They can play their sports. They can chat to their friends. They can catch up with friends. Whatever it is they do, they don't want to be wasting hours and hours of their time sitting in a car, driving to one spot. Then a day or two later or a week later, however long your co-parenting arrangement is for, then they've got to come back and do it all again in the next few days. And for them, they're just thinking, fuck no, that's a long drive. I'm just not interested. So these are things you've got to keep in mind when kids are refusing to go to the other parents. And it's very easy to say, okay, you don't want to go, that's fine. Just stay here with me. You don't have to go. Remember, they're the kid in this situation. They're the kid. They don't control this situation. They're allowed to an opinion, yes, but you don't have to cave into it. And unless there's something seriously wrong or something happening where they're in danger or you're fearful for them, then 100% I'd be like, I'm not comfortable with this. But if it's just because the drive or they didn't know what was happening or something else where they're not at harm or at risk, then there's no reason to give in to them. You've got to remember, you're the parent in this situation and you make the rules, not the kids. And sometimes it's easy if you've got an ex who you're not amicable with and you think they're the biggest asshole in the world and the kids turn to you and say, nah, I don't want to go to dad's or I don't want to go to mum's. And you might think, yeah, I don't blame you. You're a fucking bitch. I wouldn't want to go there either. That's fine. You stay here with me. But it's nothing to do with them not liking the other parent and not wanting to see the other parent. And you've got to remember, even though the kids may not want to go, this is not your this is not your time to prove to the other parent, see, kids don't want you. Kids don't want to see you. This is your time to encourage a healthy relationship. This is your time to say, no, you know what? This is your weekend with mum or it's your weekend with dad. You need to go see dad. You need to go see, he may have other kids or a partner or other people there that the kids might want to see. You need to go see them. You need to be involved in their life too. And quite often when kids put on this sad act about not wanting to go to the other parent's house, it's only at that phase of them having to go. And when they do that, they'll cry, they'll try and do what they can to get out of it. But then they actually get to the other parent's house, and I guarantee you now they will have a good time. And they will come home and they'll be all happy, and then you'll think to yourself, holy fuck, what's just happened? You're happy, you clearly had a good weekend, so what was that episode for on Friday when you were crying, fighting to go there? And it's easy to fall for it. It's easy to get sucked in, and then you're the one in the middle. You're the one having to cop all this stress. But if you just don't fall for it, if you just go, nope, this is your weekend. But you've also got to remember the main point here. And so many people thrive on the other parent not being able to see the kids, which I think is unhealthy for both parents and the kids. But you've got to keep in mind, why would you not want to have a free weekend? For me, I look forward to this time. This is your time to either catch up on work, catch up on rest, catch up on dating life, catch up on Netflix, catch up on adult stuff that you wouldn't normally do, whether it's catch up with friends for drinks, go out dancing, going out for dinner, or even just sit down and watch a movie that you can't normally do because you've always got Disney or some sort of animated movie on. So now you can actually sit down and watch an adult movie without being interrupted. And it's so important to remember that, because you need your switch off time. You need time to recharge your batteries. And if you keep giving in to your kids every time they say, no, I don't want to go, no, I don't want to go, what break are you getting? What break are you getting? You're letting your kids control the situation. And it's so important to actually sit down with them and explain this to them, and also find out why they're not wanting to go. And in the process of this, it's so important to also explain the process in the lead up, not just a couple of months down the track. You tell them this is what's happening every second weekend and expect your kids to remember that. We as adults don't even remember half the stuff. So how are we supposed to expect our kids to remember that? So we need to keep them updated, keep them reminded, okay, this is dad's weekend, this is mum's weekend. Let them know what's happening. Dad's picking you up from school, or mum's picking you up from here, or we're going to meet here and we're going to, whatever's happening, keep the kids in the loop. Because that's one thing that causes anxiety and stress and frustration. They're like, what's happening? I don't get it. When we're in a situation, we don't know what's happening, and all of a sudden the rug's just pulled from under us, and we're like, and someone's coming up to us and like, come on, let's go. And we're like, well, what are we going? Where are we going? I didn't know anything about this. And if you're just forced to go somewhere that you didn't know about, I guarantee you every single adult there would decline and be like, no, I'm not going. And it's the same with our kids. If they're put in a situation that they don't know about, they haven't been informed about or reminded about, and all of a sudden mum or dad's there and they're expected to pick up bags and off you go for the weekend, and they're like, holy shit, no, I'm not ready for this. You've got to keep them in the loop. Talk to them. Make it a process. Pack their bags together. Do what you've got to do. Plan what they need to take. Do what you've got to do. If you're amicable with the ex, talk to them. Explain what needs to come back. But this process is about the kids. And that's a lot of time why kids fight it. And we're not talking about when something serious has happened, or if there's things happening under their roof that is not acceptable behavior, then that's a totally different story. That's very different. But if it's just things that someone may have got the shits with someone, or, that's standard. We all get the shits with our mum and dad at some point, don't we? Especially as kids. We all go through that phase where we just want to run away from mum and dad. Haven't we all been there? I'm sure we've all said that at least once or twice in our lifetime as kids. And, kids these days are no different. And they need to know what's happening. Make it a process with them and plan it with them. Talk about it all. And maybe they are getting a little anxious about something. Maybe dad's got a new partner and you can't give dad cuddles at night, and that's what they like. They like getting cuddles just before bed, but they feel like they can't do that because the other parent's got a partner. So if you communicate and you find out this problem, you can explain that to the other parent. Hey, just letting you know, they just like to get a little bit of cuddles before bed. So if you can do that, that'd be great. Find out what it is that's getting them worked up. It could be the lengthy drive. It could be the fact that they may have separation anxiety. They don't like leaving mum, or they don't like leaving dad. But let them know that everything's okay. And you need to let them know as well that they're safe, that everything is okay. And you need to let them know that you're okay with it. Because if you show them that you're sad, and you show them that you don't want them to go, oh, I don't want you to go either, I'd much rather you stay, but you have to go. That's not going to help the situation. That's not going to help, because now they're knowing in their head, oh, mum doesn't want me to go, or dad doesn't, so maybe I shouldn't go. If they're telling me they don't want me to go, well, why am I going? Don't do or say anything to the kids that's going to mess with their head and make them not want to go even more so. So it's so important to remind them that this is your quality time with the other parent. This is your quality time with them. You don't get to see them very often. This is your time with them. But this is my time where I can just stop and relax. And this is dad's time where he can spend some quality time with you. And if you want to call me, then by all means, you can call me. But if you say that, then I'd highly recommend you prove that with the other parent first. And in saying that, I disagree with any parent not allowing their kids to speak to the other parent whilst they're in their care. I don't agree with that. That's not doing what's best for the kids. That's doing what's best for them and just trying to be an arsehole to the other parent. That's not cool. If the kid wants to speak to the other parent, why would you say no to them? Because clearly they've asked for it, so they want it. This whole situation should be about what's best for the kids. And even though this episode is about when the kids are not wanting to go, we're not just giving in, because giving in is not necessarily what's best for the kids. They think it's what's best for them, but a lot of the times they don't know what's best. They're just going with what they're comfortable with. They're going with what they're used to. So you need to also encourage them that Mum's going to miss you, or whoever the other parent is, I'm going to miss you, but I can't wait for you to come back on Sunday night or Monday or whatever day it is. I'm looking forward to seeing you again. And if you do have an arrangement set up where you can call them, let them know that. Remind them that I'm here on the phone if you ever need to call me or give me a FaceTime chat. I'm always here ready if you ever need to call me. And still to this day, my daughter has been going, I can't even tell you for how many years, to her dad's house. And every night she's there, mind you, there has been a few that she's forgotten, but I'd say about 90% of the time, I'll get a FaceTime chat before she goes to bed just so she can say goodnight. And that's sweet. And I love that. And it's never caused any issues, but for some reason, some parents don't like the other parent doing that. And I don't understand why, because it's just what the kids are doing. And especially if that's the primary carer who they're with every night and they're the ones that put them to bed every night and say goodnight to them, then let them continue that. But you've got to be calm when you do it. If you're being sad around the kids, then that's going to make them sad. And you want to show them that you're happy for them. You're happy that they're going there to continue or to build a healthy relationship with the other parent. You're happy that they're going to have fun with them. You don't want to show signs that you're going to be jealous because they're going out with the other parent, or they're going away on a holiday, or they're doing whatever else. Don't show signs of jealousy. This is not the time for you to start playing tit for tat games with your ex, or start feeling left out or jealous about certain things that they're doing. You want to show the kids that you're happy for the relationship that they're building with the other parent, and you want to show them that you're happy with what they're doing. You know, it can be easy to feel left out because you had that family life at one point. It was at one stage you guys were all doing it together. So you may still be adjusting to that process of dad doing it with the kids and mum doing it with the kids. But this is not the time to start playing poor me or I wish. And you don't want to put that onto the kids. If you are still feeling a bit hurt and upset and sad, go back and listen to some of the other episodes. But don't let the kids see that, because that's an issue between you and your ex. That's you still trying to get over those breakup emotions. Don't let the kids be a part of that. That's not their issue. You need to encourage that healthy relationship. And to maintain that, you need to have that open communication. Let the kids know what's happening, when they're going, when they're coming back. Can they contact you in between if need be? And most importantly, let them know that you're happy. Let them know that you're excited for when they come back home. And there's no bitterness. You're not angry. You're not jealous. You're not sad. Well, obviously, you're going to be sad because you miss them. You're going to say, I'm going to miss you, but you don't want to be, I'm so sad. I can't believe you're going, because that's going to make it harder for the kids. And at the start, that is hard. At the early stages, it is hard. We haven't been without them. Those first few times, probably the first few months, it will take a while to get used to. But at the start, it's really hard to adjust to. But the more you do it, the easier it gets. And the best thing I can suggest to do is focus on using that time wisely. Don't sit at home thinking, I wonder what the kids are doing. Or don't sit there, keep messaging the kids or constantly FaceTiming them or calling them to see what they're doing or messaging the ex. That's their time. You've just got to think, if you had the kids with you and your ex was messaging you all the time to see what the kids are doing, you'd probably think to yourself, fuck, leave me alone. I'm busy. I'm trying to cook, or I'm trying to work. I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to do that. Now you're messaging me every 2 seconds. You'd probably get frustrated. So don't do it to the other parent. Let them have their time with the kids. You probably get it a lot more frequently the other parent if you're the primary carer. If you're not the primary carer, then yeah, I do understand why you want to maybe make contact in between. But don't do it all the time where it is going to piss the other parent off. Also really important here to work out a way or have a chat with your ex to find out a way that you can make that handover process as smooth as possible. Because the last thing you want, which is going to be another reason why the kids probably don't want to go, to be fighting with your ex in front of the kids when you're doing handover. You don't want that, because that's going to get the kids all worked up. That's going to make them sad. Then they're going to be sitting in the car with the other parent thinking, oh my gosh, mum's sad or dad's sad, or I can't believe it. I don't want to go here now after seeing them cry and they're all upset. Don't. That's not the time to be fighting with them. You want to fight with them, do it in the text message, which I don't agree with doing that either. But during the handover process, you need to try and find a way to let those emotions go. Yes, they've probably hurt you. You're probably upset. You're sad. You're going through every emotion possible right now, and you don't know how to manage those emotions. Doing it in front of the kids is not the right way, I can guarantee it. So if you can work out a way with your ex to make that handover transition as smooth as possible, then do it. If it's about meeting halfway because the kids don't like a long drive, then do it. It's not about benefiting your ex. It's about benefiting your kids. If the kids want to have their phone at the other parent's house, but you've only allowed them to have the phone when they're with you, then let them take it. Let them take it. It's their phone, or if it's a tablet or some sort of device, let them use it. Because you don't want to be that person that says, oh no, you can't use it at dad's because that belongs here. If it doesn't matter where it belongs to the kids. Let them use it. If it's going to make them feel more comfortable at the other parent's house, then encourage any way you can to make them feel comfortable and to make them not want to fight having to go. Because that whole process of the kids fighting to go, it's not just stressful on them, it's stressful on you. And then when you cave into that, and then you then tell the other parent, sorry, the kids don't want to go, then they're going to get the shits at you because you weren't being supportive of the kids going. Then you've just got like a shit fight because the kids were upset and they got all worked up. You were upset because the kids got upset. Now the ex is upset at you because you're giving in to the kids. Now everyone's got the shits and everyone's upset and everyone's angry. But I guarantee if you don't cave into them crying and being sad, you say, no, I understand you're upset. You're going to miss mummy, but I'm going to miss you too. But this is your weekend with dad. And you're going to have lots of fun. And I can't wait for you to come home. And I guarantee you, if you don't show any sadness or you don't make that process difficult, they'll come home happy. And if you can speak to them in between and you can show them that you're not sad, you can show them that it's not a problem for you. You're happy that they're there. And don't call them up saying, what's dad doing? What's mum doing? What'd you do? Where'd you go? Don't try and get all nosy and finding out all this information about what's happening. If you do speak to them, it's to just say good night or I love you or I miss you. But it's not saying, oh, I wish you were home or I can't believe you went and then start talking about them crying the day before. You don't want to do that. Don't even mention that. Wait till they come back home and then sit down with them. Okay, we need to talk about this. What happened? Why was that so hard for you to go to dad's house or to go to mum's house and then you came home happy? What is it that's holding you back? Or what is it that you're getting so sad about? But when you're there, you're happy and you're fine. So talk to the kids. If they're going through that stage of not wanting to go and you know for certain there's nothing that's of concern, nothing that's putting them in danger, don't cave in. And try and talk to them and see if you can come up with an arrangement together to make that process easier. And one way that process will be easier is when the kids see when mum and dad get along. When kids are seeing mum and dad butting heads, especially at the handover process, that's going to get the kids anxious and worked up. And it might not necessarily be the fact that they don't want to go to dad's house or they don't want to go to mum's house. They just don't want to go because, well, they know once they get in the car and they meet that halfway point, they're going to see mum and dad fighting and they don't want to see that. So it may not have anything at all to do with being at the other parent's house. It could have everything to do with the fact that they know once they're on the way there, mum and dad are going to get in a fight and they don't want to be stuck in the middle. So just things to think about. And that's not always the case, may not always be the case. But if it is something else, then talk to the kids. Work out what's making them sad. What is it that they're missing? What is it that you can do differently to make that process easier for them? And that's a big one. Ask them what they want. What can I do to make this easier for you? What can we do so you don't get so sad and upset each time you need to go to mum's house or each time you need to go to dad's house? What can we do to make this easier for you? Ask them what they want. Get them involved. But keep in mind, you're still the parent and you have final say. So if the kids come to you and say, no, I'm not going to dad's house, you don't turn around and say, okay, sure, no worries. It's like the kids turning around and say to you, I don't want dinner. Would you turn around and say, yep, okay, sure, no worries? No, you'd say, no, you are having dinner. You are the parent. You have say, you have control over the situation. So, and the same applies when it comes to the other parent. So you've got to remember not to let those emotions about your ex get in the middle because you think they're an arsehole. And you think, yes, the kid doesn't want to go there. I'm going to show this fuckwit. See, kids don't want you now. It's not about that. Get rid of this point proving tit for tat bullshit. Encourage that healthy relationship. You don't have to have a healthy relationship. Well, you do actually for the kids, but at least in front of the kids, make it healthy. You should always don't let those emotions go. It's done. It's in the past. And as hard as that may sound, it is. And the more you stew on things, the more you get angry about things, and the more you hold on to this anger and hurt from your ex, the harder your co-parenting relationship is going to be. You can move on. You can, just because you have moved on doesn't mean you've forgotten what's happened. You know what's happened, but keep it in the back of your head. Don't keep it at the front of your head where you keep reminding the kids or you keep bringing it up every time you see them. Okay? You need to move on, not for your ex, but for you and for your sanity. Because when you learn to not get triggered and upset and fazed by your ex and what they're doing and seeing them at handover periods, it will make your life 1,000 times easier. I can guarantee it. And once the kids see that, it will make your co-parenting relationship 10,000 times easier. Because the kids feed off our moods. When the kids see that you're anxious because you're going to have to see dad or you're going to have to see mum, and they see you're getting all worked up and you're nervous and you're worried and you're stressed, they take on these moods and emotions. They see it. They feed off us. They feed off our energy. So it's up to us to control ourselves and be calm and not be triggered or fazed by our ex. That person's not a part of your life. They're a part of the kid's life. That's what you've got to always remember. So when you are co-parenting, and the kids are saying, Mum, I'm not going to dad's house. Or Dad, don't want to go to mum's house. Don't just turn around and say, yep, sure. No worries, kids. Nope, you're going. This is the arrangement. But remember, when they are going, don't just tell them 5 minutes before or when mum's at the door or when dad's at the door. Give them a day or two even. Let them know in advance what's happening. Let them know they need to pack their bag. Let them know what they need to do or get ready or pack if they need to pack certain school clothes or whatever else. Help them out with that. The more information they have and the more mentally prepared they are, the easier it is for them. And the calmer and the happier you are, or well, both parents are, at handover time, again, the easier it is for the kids. So you've just got to remember, there's so many things that come into play when the kids are not wanting to go to the other parent's house. And it isn't just as black and white as they don't want to go to the other parent's house. There's usually a lot more to it, and quite often it's not the fact that they don't want to go to the other parent's house. It's usually something else. So the best place to start is be open and honest with them about the whole transition period, what's happening, when, how long, can they speak to you, when they can speak to you, and show that you're calm, show that you're happy, show that you're encouraging of it. Because when they think that mum doesn't want me to go or dad doesn't want me to go, the kids are going to feel anxious. Oh, well, mum doesn't want me to go here. Why am I here? Show that you're happy about it. Show that you're encouraging of it. And most importantly, use that time for you. Use that time for you. Refill your cup. And if you want to have a cry because it's the first time that's happened or you're still in the early stages of the co-parenting arrangement, have a cry. I know I did the first time. The first time I did it, I struggled. And it's normal, but that was nearly 10 years ago now. But like I said, the more you do it, the easier it gets. And have a cry if you need to. Be sad, be upset, but don't use that whole time that the kids are with the other parents to sit there and be sad. Be sad for a little bit. Oh, I'm going to miss them, because it's a huge thing to adjust to. It's a big thing to learn to cope. You've had your kids every single day of their life and of your life. Now they're off without you and you're like, fuck, they're just now going off building another life without me. They are in a way, but they're not leaving you. You're not excluded from their life completely. They're just learning and doing different experiences with the other parent that no longer doesn't include you. But this is your time to start dating and maybe to start meeting people, and then you can build a new relationship and a new family home for the kids. But don't rush into that. Please, don't just jump out of a relationship and jump straight back into dating. Make sure you're mentally and emotionally ready before you do. And if you're unsure, grab the dating ebook. So that's mainly what I wanted to point out here. Just to remember that if the kids choose not to go to the other parent's house, it's not just because they don't want to go or because they don't like the other parent. So be firm in your decision. Remember, you're the parent. Let them have their say, but you have the final say. Keep that communication going so they know about the transition and what's happening. Talk to them and ask them if there's something that you can do to make that process easier for them. And most importantly, no fighting in front of the kids. Don't fight. Don't get angry. Don't snap. None of this snarky remarks in front of the kids, because that's going to get them anxious and worked up. And if you feel like you can't do that, you feel like you're still so angry at your ex and you're not mentally and emotionally ready to see them without getting angry, then get someone else to do it. Get a family member, or better yet, do it from school. Get them to pick up from school and get them to drop back at school, so there's no interaction between you two at all. That works so well because you don't have to communicate. You don't have to see each other. There's no going to your house or their house or vice versa, whatever. So find a way that you can do it where you're not going to see them and get the shits, and keep it easy for the kids. And that's it. So just keep in mind, there's a lot more to it when the kids don't want to go to the other parents, and just be open-minded about what that can be instead of just shutting it down and agreeing with their decision straight off the bat. That's a bit of a rundown to give you some examples of what else it could be or what could be behind the reasoning of that, and just to not shut it down so quickly when the kids do say it, and keep your emotions intact. That's the biggest thing I can always recommend. Okay, guys, that's about it from me today. And remember, as I always say, I hope you got something from this episode. And if you're wanting some extra information, I have all those ebooks available on the website, which are there to help you. They're like your little hand to hold when you're feeling stuck in a certain situation, whether it be dating and just you're struggling with something in single parenting and you're just like, fuck, I can't cope. I just need some advice or some support. These ebooks are amazing for that. So jump on. I've also got a good selection of programs available on my website to support you through this process, because who teaches us how to handle these emotions? Who teaches us how to handle these challenges that we go through as a single parent? Nobody does. We're just stuck in it. One day we're a single parent, we're like, holy fuck, what do we do now? How do we manage this? How do we deal with this? That's why I'm here. So if you need some support, jump onto my website. I'd love to help you out. And if you're wanting something a bit easier, then grab one of those ebooks. They're amazing and have so much content in there that is perfect for your single parent journey. And I'm going to wrap it up now, guys. So thank you all for listening. Thank you, everyone. If you want to share any reviews, any feedback, please do. I love it all. I love hearing from you all. And until next time, I'll be in your ears then. Thank you for joining us on the Life After Plus One podcast. If you loved what you heard today and looking for some further support, then jump onto our website, lifeafterplusone.com. Plus, don't forget to check out our Instagram page for further resources and inspo. You can find all the links in the show notes. And remember, you're not alone on this path. I'm looking forward to seeing you on the next episode. And in the meantime, keep thriving, keep growing, and keep exploring your amazing life after plus one.